Hello 6th graders, this is the official video for the Westing Game Chapter 15 summary. Now if you haven't already read the chapter, please do that first and then watch this video. So let's take a look. So at the beginning of the chapter, it's business as usual, meaning that everything's kind of going back to normal, people are going back to their jobs. For example, Turtle, Theo, and Doug, they're all school children, so they're going back to their respective schools. The coffee shop is busy, like it always is, and Shinhu's restaurant is empty. And this is completely normal for Shinhu's restaurant because it's never been described as full. JJ4, the judge, she's back in court, she's back at her job, and Sandy is back being the doorman. So everything is back to being usual. So, we've got some big thinkers here. So Turtle, Sandy, Doug, Theo, and Otis try to think of how Westing could have been murdered. So they're kind of sitting out in the parking lot, in the driveway, looking up at the Westing house, and they're kind of contemplate the reasons of his death. They're thinking of bee stings, poison, icicles, anything. And Otis even makes remarks thinking that, you know what, I don't think anyone here is capable of murder. I don't think Westing got murdered at all. And they note that the only people who left Sunset Towers, that's ST right here, Sunset Towers, on the night of the murder was Crow and Otis. And in my opinion, that kind of puts them as suspects number 1 and 2. But keep in mind, Turtle was also out of Sunset Towers on the night of the murder. So there's a lot of discussing of details in this chapter. For example, JJ Ford and Sandy, they're partners, and they start kind of breaking down and analyzing the case here. And they dive as deep as Sam Westing's family, and they don't really find much on that. However, they do know that Mr. Hu and Flora never met Mrs. Westing, just Violet. And remember, Violet is Westing's daughter. And Violet used to go out with George Theodorakis, and that's Chris and Theo's father. But she wasn't allowed to marry him or couldn't marry him for whatever reason. So George went on to marry Catherine, and Violet married someone else. So at the end of this chapter, we pretty much get that the plot thickens and that the characters are analyzing the backstory on Sam Westing's family. So that's all the big details that happened in chapter 15. If you have any questions about the chapter, please feel free to message me or write a comment in the stream section of our Google Classroom website. Bye.